My wording, that's not an exact quote, 17th chapter of Luke. Now, what is the world like today? Who is saved?
Come work with me today and you can tell me what it is.
Violence has filled the earth. What's it like now? The people have become corrupt. You know, our people's only become convinced that people are so corrupt that when you elect a man they think he's crook to office, because people have no more confidence in the integrity of people. You elect a man when he has to be a crook. We believe that people are corrupt. We accept it. He's a president, well, he's got to be a corrupt evil man. Because we don't believe anybody can reach that position in the world today and be an honest upright man. The world had become corrupt and it was filled with violence. You get on the plane today and somebody got mad at your grandpa, I'll blow the plane. Somebody wants to make a statement, political or religious statement. He wants to show you that he believes in not killing animals, so he blows the plane up and kills 150 people. All kinds of ignorance, stupidity, violence is filling our world. So therefore, we're in the time of the return of the Lord. How quick? I don't know. How long can this go on? I don't know. God gave the world before Noah 120 years, it looks like. After he pronounced that he was going to destroy it, he gave them 120 years to straighten up. And don't look like they paid him no mind whatsoever. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, and for all flesh had corrupted his ways upon the earth. All of these people who were their grandpa or great-grandpa known Adam, but they didn't give themselves over to corruption. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. You know, our people have become to believe, they do not believe the Lord is returning. Our churches' houses are sitting full of people that do not truly believe the Lord is going to come back. You say, why do you say that, Brother Johnson? Why? Well, simple fact is, their life shows it. If you truly believe the Lord was coming back, and you was going to have to give an account.
This house will be full.
You and I think I put forth an effort. But I sometimes say, Lord, help my unbelief. It's dangerous to disregard what is plain common sense. The Lord is coming back. Yeah. And when he comes back, he's going to execute judgment on the world.
I think verse 13 at the end there answers your question you asked before you started.
I'm sorry?
So I think the end of verse 13 answers the question you asked before you started.
What's that?
About how some people think that only certain parts of the earth was flooded with the water. God said, I will destroy them with the earth. Now when God says earth, to me, that don't mean just a small continent over here. That means the whole thing.
I was raised to believe that God destroyed all the earth. But the important point is, I'm not going to fight with somebody that don't agree with me on that, because the thing is, have you got your sins out of the blood? Do you believe Jesus is the Christ? All the earth. And I remember a preacher in a holiness church become very happy because some friend of his had told him he believed the flood was localized on a certain portion of the earth. Well, you know what? I believe Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. And I believe if you believe that, confess that, believe it in your heart, God will save you. And I'll admit, whatever we deal with, there is numerous people that disagree. I mean, we can start talking about the end times, and we get all kinds of disagreements among the Baptists, the Pentecostals, the Methodists, the Nazarenes. Well, here is the thing that me and you can hold on with all our hearts. Am I ready?
The Harvard College, you know, big prestigious college, right? They got a grant for $156,000 to study one word and what it meant. And they said, we want to know what the word all means. And after they spent all the money and after all the research, the Harvard University Department of Psychiatry Psychology proved that the word all meant all.
See?
That was pretty good, wasn't it? That didn't cost them a dime.
Yeah. Now then, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make an ark of gopher wood. Now there's a great deal of controversy. Is it pine? Is it oak? Is it cedar? Is it cypress? Really, to me, it don't matter. It was just wood. They can't, and when they get done arguing, nobody can prove what gopher wood is. Because it's the only time it's ever used in the Bible. And no one knows. But the fact is, God didn't take some wood and build an ark. That's the important thing. Room shall thou make in the ark, and thou shalt pitch them within and without with pitch. In other words, some type of coating to keep the water from running through the cracks. You build an ark, and it's interesting, and this is the fashion that thou shalt make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. Now, again, our Bible is not the only reference to the flood. If you will be honest about it, the Grecian story of Atlantis is a reference to a famous flood where the gods destroyed the people because of their wickedness. Actually, I think it's a legend that goes back to the flood times. Now, I don't believe the Greek story. I think it's been exaggerated in this, but it is a legend of a flood where the people become so wicked the gods destroy them. There's another group of people that also has a story of the flood, but they make ark to be 200 foot square. The only thing is, the one that God sent is much the dimensions of a modern ship. It's actually a floatable ship. Much more floatable than a square. And some people dispute, is an ark 1.6 feet, is it 1.5 feet, or what's the length of the cubits? To me, it don't make no difference. The Bible says 300 cubits, so as far as I'm concerned, it's 450 feet. Somebody wants to say it's 470 or 430. I'm not going to argue with them, but the 300 cubits long, 50 wide, 30 high, which makes it pretty much a normal ship structure. It would float. Now, they didn't know how to do that for hundreds of years. And behold, I, even I, to bring a flood of waters upon the earth and stir all flesh, wherein the breath of life, and from under heaven, and everything that is in earth shall die. Said all. But with thee will I establish my covenant. And thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee, and of every living thing of all flesh shalt thou bring into the ark, and to keep them alive with thee, and they shall be male and female, of the fowls of their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing in the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall thou come into the ark to keep them alive. Now, the Lord, I don't know how big a ship like that, how long it would take to be built. I don't know how much wealthy Noah was, how much help he had in building it, but apparently he was worked for about, to me, I suspect he worked for 120 years, or at least 100 years building the ark. And he had some type of system. But could you imagine the size of that ship now, 450 foot long, that's pretty long. 75 feet wide, 45 foot tall. That's a big ship. And had 3 stories. It had stalls. He told me. Now, it's kind of, to me, it's like God delivered Hebrews out of Egypt. They come to the Red Sea. Regardless how we look at it, we come to a point that God has to lend his power in this operation to make it work. How could you gain enough food to feed, I don't know how many animals you have, hundreds and hundreds for a whole year? Somewhere along the line, the hand of God was in the operation. Just like Brother Paul Stanton's preaching here, said he was a carpenter by trade, but he'd never been able to stack water. Referring to the Hebrews crossing the Red Sea. The water heaped up on the side of it. The world has an explanation, but they don't explain the heat. All these things, when we come down to, by our natural imagination, we reach a point where we'll say it don't compute. It just don't make sense. But if we're not careful, we will forget the hand of God. God told him to make an ark. He told him to put the food in there. So when he performed what God said did, God made it work. See, that's the point where we need to believe the Word of God.
When they went to Thomas and they said, the Lord is here, he appeared unto us and we saw him and all these different things, he didn't believe it, did he, Brother Stevie? And he said, unless that I touch him and feel the nail scars and put my, I will not believe. So the Lord appeared the second time or third time, wherever it was, and when he came into the midst, Thomas was there. Jesus knew from the beginning of time, Brother Stevie, that day would take place one day after a while. Yeah. And so when he walked in there, he said, what did Jesus tell him? He said, reach, come here. If you want to, go ahead. And he said, Thomas, because that you have done this, you believe. But there's no period there. What did he say? But blessed are those that have not seen. Brother Terry, I don't ever hardly know of a service that goes by that he says, I've been thinking about this morning. He says, remember who? Caleb? There is a faith, there's a belief and a faith and a trust in all these things. Even though we've not seen or heard that take place, but we believe in our heart, that day is soon coming, and that's what it's about. I don't know what the ark looked like, but by faith I believe it happened. Amen. I don't know about the water heaping up, but by faith I believe it. I didn't see Jesus hang on the cross, but I believe he did. I wasn't there when the thief said, remember me, but I believe it happened. Amen.
Brother Dave, along with what he said about them having to do the labor and God adding his part, it's the same way with faith. You've got to put your faith to work. And I often wonder, Jesus took time to pray. Think about that. He was God. And
But
he
still
knew.
Right.
But, he did it. He prayed. And, there's things that they're ours, but they're not given. You know what I'm saying? They're given to us as tools to use, But if we're not praying for our children, and we're not praying for each other, if we're not praying for the things in our lives, how can we expect anything of good to come about it? It doesn't magically happen,
Right.
you know.
God-
It is a,
God expects us to do what we're capable of doing. You know, you take those 3 stories of the 3 men who got servants that got their Lord give the talents to them, what Jesus said, this kingdom of heaven is like unto. One he gave 5, one he gave 2, one he gave 1. The guy he gave 1 took it and then nothing with it. Took it. Well, when he had given an account to his Lord said, thou knew. That's the kids. We're to do that we know to do. God tells Noah, and thou shalt, and take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Now, here's a point, it's like the walls of Jericho. The Lord said, go around the city, and on the 7th day go around 7 times and blow the trumpets, and the walls fell. The world explains it the way it said there, yeah, the walls fell, but it was just an earthquake. But here's the thing about it. I don't know how God broke the walls down, but God had done it. And this is the point. Somewhere along this way, Noah had help from God, but Noah done what he could do, as Brother said. Then God added the rest to make it work. To gather enough food to feed all these animals, for each animal his own food for 365 days, it's quite a thing. America sent 100,000 troops over to the Middle East, and it took them months to get enough food over there, from to go from about 100 some miles up into Iraq, or 200 miles, I don't know how far it was, it wasn't too awful far. And all these major things, people are eliminating God. They say, well, they couldn't have done it. Well, they could have, but God could. Now then,
you know, brother, I don't mean to interrupt you, Brother Johnson, but
go ahead.
I don't see in here where Noah was told how long they would be on the ark.
No.
And you go back when God told Abram, he said, come out from among your people.
Yeah.
And he left there with the Chaldees. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't know how far. And there were times when God spoke to Noah or to Abram, it was 20 years later before he spoke to him again. The Bible says.
That's things that we are not careful, we will, to me, we will overlook. You know, we will read these things, well, this happened this time, just like it was happening every day. But in making this supply of food and putting it on the ark and preparing it, I actually believe Noah had to have help from God. And thus did Noah according to that God commanded him, so did he. And that's the question about it. We and you can't perform what God can do, but we can do what he commands us to do. And when we do that, we are accepted with God. Noah found grace in the eyes of God, but you know what? He was ignorant enough. After the flood, he went out and got drunk.
But that's how, that verse 8 that you just said right there, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's how Noah was able to build that ark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
That is how Noah was able to build that ark, because of God's grace.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. When God gives you something to do, Lord, I can't quit going to dances. I love to go dancing. Lord, I can't quit drinking. I like to drink. Lord, I can't quit lying because I like to lie. Well, on your own, you can't. But like Steve said, by the grace of God, you can do whatever God tells you to do. And he only tells you that it's good for you. And that's the thing about it. Sometimes the flesh don't like to do what it's supposed to.
Right.
All right, we done used up all of our time. Why don't we get done and said, whatever the book said, I believe it's true.
Right.
Amen.
Do I understand it all?